All right, so we're going to talk about the Mint Mobile and Jack in the Box collab, and I will elaborate on this one because I put this topic in. So the other day, Neil, I was driving. So I was driving around the area, and I was on my way to the Grove, which is a mall local in LA, and I looked at a Jack in the Box, which is a fast food chain, and I saw one of my friend's company's name on there. I was like, wait, what? This is a mobile company. Why is it there? And it happened to be. I looked at the ad. It's like Mint Mobile X Jack in the Box, and it showed a picture of a mint smoothie, a green smoothie, which actually happens to be the color of my friend's company as well. It's green, and it's called Mint Mobile. And bear in mind, we did an episode a while back on how Ryan Reynolds did really well with the Mint Mobile kind of
Yeah,
acquisition.
$1.3 billion. That's really well.
Correct.
Good for
And
him.
funny enough, like I've never seen them. I don't know if you've seen this, Neil, but I've never seen a mobile company do a collaboration with a fast food company. I thought it was smart. I thought it was interesting. God knows how well it worked, but my whole point is like, I mean, man, like it just takes creativity at the end of the day. Who knows how well it converted, but I hope it converted.
Well, check this out. If you think about Jack in the Box, they have a ton of stores. I'm actually Googling it right now, but I've seen them everywhere in a lot of states. Jack in the Box store count. What's the total that we come up with? So Jack in the Box has, dude, it's too many to even count. They're breaking them down by state. All right, here's a total:
I got it.
2,187.
222.
2,187. So either way, it's a lot of Jack in the Boxes. They own a lot of real estate or take up a lot of real estate. I'm talking about physical real estate. So what's really cool here is Mint Mobile is now using that real estate to promote Jack in the Box. And imagine someone doing that with the McDonald's. McDonald's owns so many stores. If someone did the same thing with them, it's actually a really good idea. Like I'm looking up the McDonald's stat right here, and this is based out of 2023. There are 13,515 McDonald's stores just in the United States. Now imagine McDonald's globally, right? And when I look at globally, based on the McDonald's.com website, 38,000 locations. That's 38,000. That's a lot.
If I'm putting my CMO hat on right now, to Neil's point, we're talking about real estate, and the Jack in the Box customers are within their demographics because, from my understanding, Mint Mobile they would compete with. I think I forgot what the other company's called, maybe Grasshopper or whatever. Not Grasshopper, but there's another kind of low cost provider, and Mint Mobile is they
Boost
are
Mobile?
not Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile is one of the competitors, but it was Leica Mobile. Lyca, Leica Mobile. And my understanding of this is like they're not a high cost provider. They're trying to hit the masses. And a lot of the masses go to a place like Jack in the Box. I certainly went to Jack in the Box a lot. And if the collaboration didn't cost them a lot of money, then it's smart because it's good for both sides.
Yeah, no, it was, I don't know what it's going to end up doing to revenue. I don't think it's going to drive a lot of revenue, but I do think it's great branding, and in the long run, it will help them generate more revenue. And not everything in marketing is supposed to be about revenue. If you're playing the long game, and when I'm talking about long game, I'm talking about being in business for way more than 10 years. Even that I think is short. But look at what Nike's done. Nike has more search traffic from a brand perspective than the term shoes in the United States, at least based on Google Trends. And I checked a month ago. So look, if you think about Nike or any of the big brands, they're everlasting. The reason they're everlasting is they spend time on branding and money. And in the long run, it pays off. You're not going to get the majority of the signups from social media. You're not going to get the majority of your signups from a Google search. You're going to get the majority of your signups because people love your product and service and they keep talking about it. That's how you really build up a brand. Plus doing a lot of these stunts like what Mint Mobile is doing.
All right, so we're going to talk about how to build an organization of top marketing performers. But Neil, what do we mean by top marketing performers?
People who kick butt and produce results. I'm not talking about just people who are there who are producing reports for you. I'm talking about top performers. These are the people that aren't just driving clicks. They're not just driving followers. They're actually producing revenue. In marketing, your job isn't to optimize a quality score. Your job is to drive revenue. Your job isn't to my search engine rankings. Your job is to optimize revenue. Now, if those efforts drive more revenue, you should do more of those tasks, improve the quality score or improve your search engine rankings. But if they don't, then you should spend your time on something else. Great example of this is my team started optimizing for random terms. We started getting traffic for the term Discord on Google. Eric, you want to guess how many visitors we got from that term Discord?
Many.
Hundreds and thousands, over a 4-month period. We were on
And how
page
many
1 at one point.
conversions did you actually get?
0. So what do? We stopped caring about that and we started squashing some of those pages and reduced our traffic and our rankings. And on the flip side, we were talking about quality score a few episodes ago. Eric's first job in e-commerce. You were working on Google Ads. This was your very, very first job. And what quality score did you get that ad to?
10 out of 10.
For a lighting company, how much revenue did it drive?
0.
And what did the owner of the company or your boss say?
We got in an argument and he was like, how many conversions did you drive? I was like, it doesn't matter because the quality score was a 10.
Eric and I are laughing because when we were both young, we made a lot of mistakes like this. But that guy who told Eric that it doesn't matter if it's not driving revenue, he's 100% right.
He was right.
Yeah, and we're not saying this to make fun of Eric or making fun of me because we've all made mistakes. We're just trying to prove a point that in marketing, if you want to be a top performer, it's not about metrics like followers and traffic, unless those visitors or followers are driving revenue.
Yep. I would just say, I think it's important to define what we look at as a top performing marketer or A player. At least in my opinion, a top marketer or a top performer in general, they have to be a rainmaker in a sense. And so for a salesperson or a marketer, you have to be driving something really close to revenue, like directly affecting revenue. And if you have to be a rainmaker, that's the first one. The second one is if you're like top, we're talking VP plus level, you better be damn good at having a network of people, and you better be able to recruit these people in, because these people know how to build teams around them. Because the best of the best, they might be good at doing the work, but they're also good at building leverage around them. And the best leverage is one of the highest leverage things is having great people around you. So they know how to hire other top performers under them as well. And then I would say those two. And then the third thing is they also know how to motivate and drive a team as well. And, that's more kind of VP level. But if we're talking maybe an individual contributor, maybe you're early in your career. I remember when I was 25 or so, I was leading marketing at a startup, and Neil remembers this back in the day. But, you have to be someone that will not only point out the problem, you will offer a solution, but not only that, you will offer the solution, but you're going to offer to solve the problem as well. Those are the best people. I find that whether it's for Neil or myself, when those people come and they're just like, hey, can I do this? Hey, I have this idea. Can I do this for you? They take a big load off your shoulders. And that's what a high performing marketer is. Now let's talk about how you can actually build an organization of those people. Go ahead, Neil.
So the first thing is usually most top performers specialize in a specific channel. So have them focus. The second thing is once you get one, ask them, who else should we work with that you've worked with in the past that is amazing? Because top performers usually don't like working with crappy people because it makes their job harder and they're going to have to pick up the slack. The third thing, and this is actually the first thing that you should look for. The third thing, though, is go look who is in your space who has done that job before, not once, not twice, but ideally 3 times, 2 at the lowest. And if they've been at competing companies in your space and they've been very successful with that marketing channel and they've continually gotten promotions, the promotions part is the key. The reason I say that is everyone says they did well. Everyone says they were the reason a company drove a lot of revenue or traffic, but you really never know. But the moment a company promotes someone and continually gives them more raises and promotions and different and better job titles, it means the company found them to be valuable. Forget what their job title is. It means the company found them to be valuable, right? And it doesn't even matter what they say. Yes, that's important in an interview. But if a company's willing to give them tons of promotions, like 3 or 4, and they've been there for a while, and then another competitor did the same thing, that means they're good at what they're doing. They're producing results. They're a top performer because multiple companies in your space keep promoting them and paying them more.
Yep. And on the flip side of that, we've had people that we've hired that have been at a job for 5+ years or so, but they were not ever promoted. And what happened? Well, we hired the people and they couldn't figure things out. It was like they were only good at the original role and they couldn't elevate to the next level. And so take it for what it is, but the promotion piece is actually a big factor. The other thing I'll say that's similar to what Neil said about when we're hiring someone new. For example, today we had someone new that just started. It's like we go to them and we say, hey, we looked at your LinkedIn and these are 10 people that we found. Who of these 10 people should we be talking to? In addition to, hey, who else do you know that we should be talking to? And oftentimes they'll give me lists of like 10 people, 15 people, 20 people or so. And referral marketing or referral hiring always works really well. The other thing I'll say too is you want to be very clear about what it is that you're trying to accomplish as an organization. And hey, here are the outcomes that we have for this role, and we discuss the outcomes with this person. And also, what we do during the interview process is we anti-sell them, meaning that we say, here are the 5 reasons that you shouldn't be joining the company. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And if it's okay, if you want to bow out right now, that's totally cool. What do you want to do? And that way, it actually gets people to, one, they buy in more and they appreciate your honesty, but also the other people will self-select themselves out.
Yeah, and it's not easy to find these people. When you have them, do everything that you can to keep them, incentivize them, give them some options, some stock, some ownership in the company, talk to them, let them know when they're doing a good job. Sometimes a lot of people just want that attaboy and acknowledgement that they're doing amazing work. But in essence, the way that Eric and I broke down is how you find top performers in marketing. And to summarize, they need to specialize. Top performers typically know they're top performers. Look for people who worked for multiple of your competitors, stayed there for a while, and continually got promotions, because it means that they're not just good based on what they're saying. Other people also felt they were good and saw results they at least should have. Hence, they kept getting promotions. And when someone goes and works for a competitor and they get 1 promotion, that's all right. But if they're getting 2 or 3 promotions, that means they're doing a really good job. And then they hop to another competitor, they get 2 or 3 promotions. Again, means that they're doing a really good job.
Final thing I'll say from my side is I try to check in with my top performers at least once a month, and separate from my one-on-one meetings with them, okay? Or maybe they're not reporting directly to me, but I'll ask them, I'll say, hey, look, how is your work life going right now? Scale of 1 to 5. They might say 3 out of 5. So I'll be like, okay, what's it going to take to make it a 4 out of 5? How is your work life going right now? How is it working with your team right now, 1 through 5? How is it working with me, if that's applicable? What else could I be doing to make your experience better? And they might say, oh, we need to hire. Your goal ultimately is you're trying to unblock your top performers because you want them to play at the highest level. And if they're performing at a high level and you need to hire to help them, that's usually a good sign. That means your company's probably growing for the most part. All right, we're going to talk about what you can learn from the best newsletter businesses. I'm going to give a couple examples first. What do we mean by newsletter? Morning Brew. That's one. Morning Brew, they update you with the latest business news each day. The Milk Road, great crypto newsletter. Axios, they got a lot of news in the VC world, investing world. So there's a lot of newsletters out there. eMarketer is another one. And it's newsletter. It's just the email newsletter that you get that's keeping you updated on subjects that you're interested in. And we want to talk about what you can learn from the best newsletter businesses today.
By the way, what do you think is the best newsletter business if you had to pick one?
Agora?
Yeah, I would say Agora too.
Do you want to describe
that was the only
Agora
reason I asked the question, because you mentioned Morning Brew and the others, and you didn't mention Agora. Agora, I think, is the biggest. I don't have the stats.
Mention what they are. Tell them about what Agora is.
So Agora is a financial newsletter. Think about like stock trading, hedge funds, economy. And they have a lot of different divisions like Stansberry Research, Agora Financial, Money Map Press. They're all owned by, I think the guy's name is Bill Bonner. And Agora, I don't know what they're doing this year, but I remember, because we've done quite a bit of their marketing over the years, it's $1 billion+ revenue company, and it may be a little bit down or a little bit more. But that's a lot of revenue to generate from selling newsletters on an annual basis. Just think about that. $1 billion+ a year in revenue for selling newsletters.
I think it's impressive. You look at Axios, Morning Brew sold to Business Insider for an 8-figure amount, and now Morning Brew is doing 80, 90 million a year, whatever. And the founders, they've done well for themselves. Congrats to them. And they started it when they went to Michigan. The Hustle, I think, sold for maybe $27, $28 million to HubSpot. And these are legit media companies. And the way I look at them is, I think these businesses are super. Axios sold for $553 million. And then Agora, to your point, you said high point was they're doing like north of $1 billion in revenue annually. So there's a lot of different ways to play it, but I think Agora probably played it the best, because the other newsletters that I talked about are very advertising based, whereas Agora, they tie their monetization vehicles are for their own products. And so it could be like a mastermind, or it could be a subscription that costs $5,000 a year, $10,000 a year. There's like proprietary research that they do, and they have a lot of events and things like that, right? And people that are really interested in money or making money, they're naturally okay with spending on stuff like this. And I think my opinion on this isn't for the newsletter business is there's a couple things. One, if you have a good monetization engine, let's say Neil and I, we both have ad agencies, right? If we were to build a newsletter, like a strong marketing newsletter, we would be promoting our own stuff. So we might be promoting our ad agencies. We might be promoting the mastermind that I have. We might be promoting Answer to Public or Uber Suggest, which is a product that Neil has. I think the best move is, sure, you can sell ads, but just like other channels, eventually what I believe the best move is you are then promoting affiliate products, so other people's products, and then you're building your own products to sell, because that's where you're going to get the best margin for the most part.
And Axios sold in 2022, but to give you some data, I'm reading this article. Axios sold to Cox Enterprises for $525, pretty much the same price Eric mentioned. And in 2021, it says they generated $88 million in revenue and made $4 million in EBITDA. In 2022, it was believed, and they're owned by Cox now, so not really going to get the stats of the data. I don't think we will. But in 2022, it says they were targeting $110 million. So they sold for, call it, $500+ million. Agora, let's say, is 10 times the size of them. And I know some of the divisions, and some of the divisions that I know we were working on generated way more profit than, call it, what they were doing. What was it? 4 on 88. What is that? 5% or so? Yeah, 4.54%. So Agora is more profitable, good growth, $1 billion. What is that? $5 billion business? I don't know. Probably valuations in this market is much less. But newsletters, it is a massive business. The big thing that I've learned from the newsletter business, and this was just me as a marketer, wasn't actually related to newsletters. It was related to the concept of, if you can get someone in to your funnel, your marketing funnel, for something really cheap, free, like an email address or something for $1 or $5, it's really easy to start selling them things that are $100, $1,000, 10,000 takes a lot of work, but you can go upstream really quickly. And what I learned from Agora working from them is, you need to go after a big TAM. TAM stands for total addressable market, because as a marketer, the bigger market you go after, the easier it is to do marketing, because you can just spray and pray, in essence, target a lot of people. So you don't have frequency issues with your ads. The second thing I learned from them is, you just need to get people in the funnel and get them to buy something, even if it's $1 worth, because buyers are buyers, and it's really easy to get people to buy more once they buy once, no matter how low that product was. But it's hard to get a new buyer to buy something, whether it's expensive or cheap. So just try to find something that you can sell profitably or break even on, or lose a little bit of money selling, knowing that you can generate way more revenue in the long run from people. Great example of Amazon, right? Amazon will sell people. Sometimes they'll lose money with things like Prime, but they know they'll make the money in the long run because people keep coming back and buying more and more, and it makes them really profitable.
Yeah, the final few things I'll say, so what Neil's talking about is also known as a tripwire. So people in the internet marketing world will create a tripwire where you might sell something for $1 or $10 or whatever. And the whole idea here is you collect a credit card, and then you can figure out how you can upsell, downsell, and things like that. Now, ClickFunnels is actually really good for this. So if you combine your newsletter with ClickFunnels, they're actually known for having the downsells, the upsells, and things like that. The final thing I want to say is I want to share a story around Agora. So back in the day, so Neil was a lot more involved with Agora. So they would put on events, they would do courses. So I actually shot a course along with Neil, and we spent an entire day shooting this course. It was like in Burbank, California. And so what I'm basically saying behind this is that they are producing great content for the newsletters. They have a YouTube channel. They have multiple YouTube channels and different business lines. And what I learned from this is, I remember I went to an event a couple of years ago, right before the pandemic hit. And I learned from one of the founder of Agora, the Bill Bonner guy that you're talking about. I actually met him. And the one thing that he said that they do at Agora is that they share all the data. Even though they have competitive business units, they're all trying to beat each other. They share all the data, and they're all trying to help each other get better. So it's competitive in a sense, but it's also like competitive. It's competitive greatness. That's what it ultimately is at the end of the day. And the thing I wanted to touch on with the courses, Neil and I spent an entire
up a little bit. You're so right. I remember they send out a daily email of sales numbers for all the different products for different divisions, even if they're competing with each other. And it inspires the others, and it makes them compete and crank even harder on their marketing.
And not only that, what ends up happening, let's say Neil and I were in different business divisions at Agora. I might say Neil's numbers, and it's, oh crap, he did $1 million in sales yesterday. What did he do? And Neil's not going to hold back. He's going to be like, yeah, here's exactly what we do. So they all help each other out. And I think that's the beautiful piece about it. What I wanted to touch on, we can work towards wrapping here, was Agora, when Neil and I were recording the courses, I think there have 10 or 15 people there, including the film staff. And that just shows how serious they are about building their own products and their own services. And I think that's impressive. So I think owning your own monetization vehicles, I think that is the way with not just newsletters, but any audience in general. So that is it for today. Please don't forget to rate, review, subscribe. hit us on YouTube as well, and we'll see you later.